If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Welcome back everyone to Kiwi shoe review. Firstly, a quick apology. I know I said that there was going to be a review coming up around what is the best racing flat for under $100, or potentially the best racing flat for under $100. Unfortunately, it hasn't arrived yet, given the delays with post, so it'll probably be coming next week. However, in the meantime, a shoe that I think is probably worth reviewing, given I've mentioned it plenty of times, it's a shoe that I've raced in a lot, and it's probably going to be a good shoe to compare against the shoe that is coming soon, the Adidas Adizero Adios 4. Chuck a wee comment below about what you think might be that $100 racing shoe and see if you're right when it comes out, hopefully next week if it arrives for me. I've run in the Adios range for about 2 or 3 years now, and it's been my go-to racing flat for pretty much all races up until I got the Next Percent, which I use for longer races, but for 5k races, even some 10k races, this is the go-to shoe. It's also been a shoe that I've used in triathlon races, so it's really a versatile shoe that I've used for everything. This is the Adios 3, the previous iteration, which you can see is well used, and it's very much a similar shoe. There's just a few little tweaks, which I'm going to take you through now. So the shoes are more or less the same when you consider the outsole and the midsole. The major changes are with the upper. So you can see on the bottom here, pretty much the same pattern, same awesome continental rubber, same torsion system through the middle of the foot. Everything's the same. You can see on profile, pretty much the same boost foam and how it's all laid out, and a few extra bits around that, little plastic inserts with that torsion system to help out. So it was kind of a if it ain't broke, don't fix it type mentality. This shoe, the Adios 3, is the one that had the previous marathon world record with Wilson Kipsang, just around that 2 hours and 3 minute mark. So the previous world record of 2 hours, 2 minutes and 57 seconds was actually held by Dennis Kimetto, set in 2014. Wilson Kipsang had the one before that, which was 2 hours, 3 minutes and 23 seconds. It's certainly a fast shoe that there's no issues with it trying to, get you going fast. So the major changes in the 4 compared to the 3, like I say, were in the upper. So you can see straight away that there's a slight different thing. So you can see these long stitched patterns of the Adidas stripes are now almost glued on smaller ones, which I think look quite cool on this shoe. The mesh is slightly thicker, but still breathable and still pretty lightweight on this compared to the 4. And there's less of this kind of sewn on felt-like material around the toe box. Just a little bit of it right at the end of the laces there, and just around the side to hold it all together. Otherwise, it's much the same. The one thing and the best thing that I think has changed, and it's not a full gusseted tongue, but in the 4, they have stitched the tongue, probably, I can't show you the inside, but up to about that far. That is so good. My main bugbear around the 3, and especially when I was doing triathlon racing with it, with speed laces in, is the tongue would just go anywhere it liked. It's a thin tongue and it just flops all over the place, never holds still, which was a bit of a pain when you're using speed laces. Usually with normal laces you can tie it down and keep it where you want it, but it was still a bit of a pain. Having it kind of stitched in this one is going to be so good, and has been. I haven't used it with speed laces, but using it with just regular laces, you can really feel the difference. The other thing, there's slightly more room in the toe box in the midfoot. It is a tight fitting shoe, so if you have really wide feet, it's not going to be the shoe for you. But otherwise, I have kind of medium wide feet, and it still fits fine for me, and the 4 is even better than the 3. Clearly a very neutral racing flat. There is no kind of arch support, as you can see there, and not much through there. The little kind of added bit is this torsion system, which gives a bit more rigidity through that midsection of the shoe, but you can see it's pretty loose up the front. And it does give a bit more support through the rotation of the shoe there, but not massive. It's still made as kind of a natural shoe for you to be able to do what you want with. The Adidas Adizero 4 has 27mm of the boost foam in the heel and 17mm in the forefoot, creating a 10mm drop. If you haven't come across the boost foam before, it's basically thermoplastic polyurethane that is expanded and creates little closed cells around tiny pockets of air, and then is all jammed together, as you can kind of see the little bits of material there. It's in short called ETPU, or expanded thermoplastic polyurethane. So the shoe comes in at 236 grams for a men's size 10.5. Price wise, it generally sits around 200 New Zealand dollars when they're new, as with the whole range of the Adizero shoes, the Adios shoes that have been around. But you can always pick it up cheaper. I got these super cheap from the Adidas outlet store, but even on the Adidas website, you usually pick them up for about $150 on special. So pretty affordable kind of racing flat to be able to get your hands on. I use this shoe, like I said, for racing. I also use it for my really fast tempo days or track workouts when I really want a responsive feel and a shoe that I know is going to hack the workout. Probably better than my legs will. So this is my go-to for that kind of stuff. It feels lightweight on the foot, even though it is slightly heavier. It's just constructed in a way that it feels good to run in. You have good contact, you feel like you've got good control. It's pretty responsive off the ground with that boost foam. All round is just a really nice package, especially for those fast, hard races where you're putting a lot of energy into the ground. It's a shoe that will certainly give you that energy back. And to that end, it's still a really good racing shoe for the marathon. Now, I don't run marathons, so I don't have an example there. I have run half marathons in it, so I know that it's good for that. But obviously, the fact that the previous marathon world record was set in these shoes, just, that 2:03 marathon mark, means it must be good enough to kind of hack that kind of distance. So it's really a shoe for anything from that 5K race right through to the marathon. Such a versatile shoe, and a shoe that I would recommend that everyone try, especially because it's at a reasonably cheap price point. Give it a try, see what you think, and you might fall in love, and it might be your go-to, like it has been mine, for that shorter distance. What don't I like about this shoe? Well, there's not a lot, to be honest. It comes at a good price point, it's comfortable, it's responsive, it really has everything. The only thing maybe would be the weight. At 236 grams, or probably closer to 240, 245 grams for my size, that's starting to get a little bit heavier for a out and out racing flat, but given the whole package, it's really not too much of an issue. It's very much a neutral running shoe. No medial support, so if you pronate too much, overpronate, it's not really going to be the shoe for you, unless you've kind of only using it for racing and you know that you can hold a really strong kind of technique and gait for that kind of race. It will be perfect. I've seen a lot of people out there wanting to use it as a training shoe. That's okay. For me, I just don't think there's quite enough cushion to really want to be using this shoe all day, every day, because it really would jar your legs just that little bit too much. And so I kind of go with something that's got a little bit more cushion, maybe the Boston, which is slightly more of that boost material in there to give you a bit more of a kind of cushion ride, and probably handles the miles longer. I'd love to know, are you a Adios fan? Have you run in it in all of its iterations? Do you have the 5? Do you run in the 4? Are you still in the 3? Let me know in the comments below. If you have liked this review, please do like and subscribe to the channel so you can get more content when it's coming soon. Hopefully the next review is the best racing shoe for under $100. Please do like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.